So, Amy from Foster Plumbing in Denver, thanks for joining me today. I guess let's just start by telling me a bit about your business and how long you've been running it and what you do and what makes it such a, I think it's understood in Denver to be one of the standout plumbing businesses. So tell me a bit about that.
I bought Foster Plumbing about 6 years ago. We were predominantly a small TI company. I bought it from Kurt Foster. He had 4 employees. I've owned it for about 6 years, and I think we're at about around 40 employees now. We do much larger
Wow.
TI projects, and we do a lot of service work. So we've expanded. One of my major contributions, while I'm not a plumber, I consider myself an entrepreneur and business owner. I'm a very big operations person, and so that's where my specialties lie. And I come in and organize everything and make workflows better and smoother so that we increase efficiency and, of course, profitability with materials and whatnot. With expanding into service, we're continuing to do that, and we're just on a huge trajectory. We've grown by 10 times the
Oh,
revenue
wow.
that the original owner had. So
That's
it's
really
doing
impressive.
well. Yeah.
What did you choose? Why did you choose plumbing in the first place? If you haven't got a plumbing background, then what was the motivation for that type of business?
Well, my oldest son was a plumber, but I had actually encouraged him to do that because I just think the trades are just the way of the future. And I believe that I used to own a residential handyman service and I could never get plumbers, and you'll just always have work. But now, not only will you not always have work, you will always have work as a trade individual. You will probably outpace college graduates and people who, if you just look at things from a financial standpoint, most college students come out with so much debt, and then these guys have no debt. They get paid to get their training, and then they're in such high demand. Quite frankly, I've seen several little memes now that say plumbers and HVAC folks are the millionaires of the future, and I believe
Um,
that, and I thought that was the truth years ago. And so I've finally, one of my crazy ideas has come to fruition. So
Not to mention, a lot of the college degrees, by the time you've got it, there's no jobs available in whatever you studied, at
right.
least over in Australia. Now, speaking of
hmm
Australia, you mentioned that you're in TI. That's not a term we use over here. What does that mean?
Tenant improvement.
Okay.
So it means when a building, when offices move around businesses and you go in and you want the everything done, and the walls and moved and bathrooms upgraded in commercial
Okay.
buildings.
Okay. Fit out work. Got it. Okay.
Oh, that's what you
Yeah.
call it. Okay.
Yeah. What software are you using and how long have you been using it?
We're using Simpro, and we've been using it since the beginning, so about 5 years now. Um,
Okay.
and Simpro is just does not have the reporting capabilities that we desire. And
Yeah.
so originally we worked with another company for a couple of years and got some very basic reporting. But as we've grown, we've needed to upgrade that. We've
Yeah.
needed to get better data, and we've needed to get more comprehensive data. And that's why I started seeking out other solutions.
Okay. And then obviously you came across us
Yes.
and the rest is history. But tell me
Yeah.
about what's the information that you're looking at regularly to run Foster and sort of how are you using that?
Well, one of the things that we do that's unique, since we are since a big chunk of our revenue is TI or
Yeah.
fit, we have to, and the jobs are 2 weeks here, then a 4 week break, and then 2 more weeks. And our niche is the jobs that the smaller companies can't handle, but the bigger companies don't want. So we're kind of
Yeah.
in that middle. That's our sweet spot. And one
Yeah.
of the ways that we've made that very highly successful is by tracking and keep maintaining our staff, because people want a regular paycheck. We've been able to use the Gantt charts within Simpro and pull those out with API, and it really stabilizes our labor, which is humongous for a business
Yeah.
that is not doing longer projects. And
When
so
you
it's
say
we've
stabilize your labor, you mean from like a scheduling point of view?
yes.
Yeah.
So our guys get pretty much about 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, every week, and they have for the most part for the last 4 years, but it's not because the work, it's because we're very calculated with how we bid and where we bid and when we bid. And so,
Yeah.
because the more overtime you get into in the US, the quicker your profits go down.
Yeah.
So we pay very close attention to just trying to keep them right at 40 hours. So they're happy
Try and
and we're happy.
smooth that pipeline out.
Right. Smooth the pot.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. So that's been huge for us, as well as obviously having our field staff. They're able to look at reports and they know, okay, am I on target with material pricing? Am I on target with labor hours? And so we roll that out for our field staff. And then, I mean, that's huge to make sure that they understand, okay, you got to pick up the pace, you can hit the targets. So that's been great because Simpro certainly doesn't offer anything like that. And that's the big thing. You're just able to curtail these reports to your needs, and it's just essential. Also, with our labor forecasting, backtracking just a little bit, we also with API we added what isn't scheduled. So it pulls out, okay, you've handled all this, but this is left over and you've missed this. So we need to make
Yeah.
sure that that labor forecast is as accurate as possible. And that's been a really nice addition because we've definitely come into situations where someone is with so many jobs going, oh crud, I forgot to schedule this
What
job
happened
in
is,
for the
yeah.
labor force. So that's
Yeah.
been really, really good.
And
And
obviously the employees or your team members have been able to use it to manage where they're at on jobs and how they're tracking. Have you been able to use it yourself for performance management and conversations with the team?
we have just started doing that since we got those reports fixed, and we're using it to calculate our bonuses, which has been
Yeah.
ours was pretty. I ended up going on the probably not the most ideal, but it's what I think is right for our company. And
Yeah.
it's a very detailed bonus structure. So it was not the easiest report to put together, I don't think,
No,
but
maybe
it
not.
had, yeah, but it pulls out our reports and we just know exactly how much to bonus them and also their performance indicators. And
Yeah.
it's great because obviously we broke out the types of work. And of course, some of our guys think they're just killing it on jobs. And then we break it out and go, no, as a matter of fact, you didn't even hit the bottom line. And here's the report. They're very detailed reports that we send off to them, which kind of shuts them down on what they believe, what's reality and what's perception. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And information's power. The more you
mhm,
understand something, the more you can react to it, or at least, from their point of view, gauge how well they're performing and adjust.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
It's easy
sure.
to get complacent when you think everything's going great and it might not be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
three people standing around, it inclines them to send people off on the next job, and kind of
Yeah.
keep a faster pace, I believe.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Definitely. We have a lot of what we would consider potential clients who are of the impression that they've got their profit and loss reporting, and so they've got enough to be able to manage their business by. Have you got a thought on that? Because obviously you've moved well past that into operational reporting. So have you got
Oh,
any thoughts on that for us?
well, certainly I love my P&L and my accounting software, but
Yeah.
construction is totally different. You have to know where you're at in the middle of the job. You have to know where you're stacking up with labor. And so you can
Yeah.
push things or move things or call people off or maybe bring in some temps or something like that. You have to manage that so that when you get to the end of the job, you've got that profit and you see what's coming.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the profit and loss is nice, but it is great, and you need it, but you need to know if there's a problem well in advance of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
When there's still time to do something about it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it keeps our project managers on task. So they are more aware of, okay, wait a second, you're wasting all this money and you can't do that. You better go pull some product from the warehouse that's already been from another job so you can make it up on
Cut
this
your
one.
costs back down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So,
And then how have you found the process? Obviously, as you've mentioned, it's a fairly custom process. You know, we build our reports to match your needs, and every business is different and everyone uses Simpro differently. And so, you know, there's no one size fits all for this.
Hmm.
So how have you found the process of working with the API guys from sort of start to finish?
I mean, it's been good. I think that definitely, so I don't have anything negative to say. I do think it is challenging because, you know, you've got something in mind and we talk about it, but then the
Yeah,
first thing comes out and it's like, wow, this isn't exactly looking the way that I had in my mind. And so,
yeah,
but then we just have the meetings and we get it back on track. And if I think we're even in the phase now where there's still a few little tweaks that we want to make, and you can make little tweaks here and there each month if you want to. And but as long as
yeah.
the basic report is there, then it's not an issue. And it sounds like you guys are continuing to expand your abilities as well, like catching when things don't sync and whatnot. So,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've got a lot of internal reporting around that. The API can get glitchy, and so we've built a lot of reporting now to be able to find that when it happens, so that it's not, you know, up to you guys to catch it. And it's just a really iterative process. We've built probably 250 unique reports now, and every time we build one, it's slightly different, and it's hard from your point of view as well, because you're like, I think I know what I want, but you haven't had it before, and then when you get a version of it, you're like, yeah, that's not quite it, and then it really is it's a iterative process, just requires a few back and forwards, and I guess that's sort of how our model works.
yeah. Yeah. You guys have been accommodating very much and trying to get us everything that we need. Definitely. For sure.
Perfect. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I'll pass that back onto the team.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to add that we haven't covered at all?
I certainly have enjoyed working with you guys. Are very professional, except for I will add this, which I mentioned to you in the beginning. It's so helpful. It is one of the reasons that I chose you guys, that you have a background in the trades
Yeah.
because you really understand what I'm trying to get to. Even though I'm a United States client, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's a whole different animal than just
Yeah.
your standard business reporting. And I would say that has been extremely helpful in the process. Your
Appreciate
coaching
that feedback.
background has been essential, really. Thank you, because it made
Yeah,
it better for us for sure.
of course, you're so welcome.
And of all the companies I looked at, I mentioned this to you before, I feel like yours is far and away for trades, bar none. There's nothing out there even close.
Yes, thank you.
Definitely worth the investment. Thank you.
Perfect.
And I'm sure I'll be talking to you. There's always something going on. So,
There's always something else to do.